Yo, what's happening, Raider Nation? It's your boy Soto here. You know what it is. Raiders versus the world. Talk about the team that the world loves to hate, your Las Vegas Raiders. All right. So mistakes are made, okay? Some things happen that are out of your control. And if you're part of Raider Nation, drafting Tyree Wilson instead of drafting Jalen Carter was really out of your control. These are one of the things that really bugged me about just things that were done in that previous regime. It could be explained away why you didn't select Jalen Carter, or why you didn't didn't want to deal with the backlash, what he was going through, and all this stuff. Ultimately, you have to deal with what you have, and what we have right now is a defense with Tyree Wilson in it, a couple years away from being a first-round pick, number 7 overall. All right. Has he lived up to that draft position? No, not at all. Has he lived up to being even a second or third round pick? Not really. These are things that we need to be kind of just face and be honest about, okay? An objective view. Tyree Wilson, I'm not going to use the word bust, but he has definitely not lived up to being drafted in the first few rounds of a draft, let alone number 7 overall. Can this change? Yes. Coming out of Texas Tech, Tyree Wilson wasn't seen as a technician or a guy that had a bunch of moves or anything. This guy was a guy that really won on his athletic ability. Now, when you take a look at that and you take a look at that translating into the NFL, everybody's fast and everybody's big and everybody's good. You can't win just on athletic ability alone. And that's where Tyree Wilson is right now. He needs to get some more technique. He needs to develop his craft a little bit more. Also, he had that foot injury, very similar to the foot injury that Christian Wilkins had. Now, with the issues that Christian Wilkins is having right now, coming back from injury, you can see that maybe it was a little bit of an issue of Tyree Wilson not generally getting a lot of the time to heal because he was a first-round pick and they wanted to get him on the field. If that's the case, he pretty much lost his first year, his rookie season, because he wasn't 100%. So if you look at it from that perspective, his second season was something where he can kind of start learning and start growing, which is really kind of his rookie season, right? Now is the time for him to really show what he can do. If he doesn't have pass rush moves by now, if he's really just doing a bull rush or a hand to the chest type of thing and trying to bully people, that's who he's going to be. And I think with this defensive coaching staff and with this head coaching staff right now, they're really talking a lot about putting players in a position to make plays and really emphasizing what they do well. What does Tyree Wilson do well? Well, he does set an edge well, right? He does set an edge well and on the running downs. Inside, he can be more of a bully pass rusher because you don't really have the opportunity to be a speed rusher if you're rushing from the inside of the defensive line. So those are things that you can do to put Tyree Wilson in a position to succeed that's not like a wide 9 pass rusher, an edge rusher, right? And I think at the end of the 2023 season, we saw that where Tyree Wilson played a lot of snaps on the interior of the defensive line, and he actually did pretty good. And if you guys watched the Adam Butler video, he said that they're moving Tyree Wilson. They're using Tyree Wilson in different ways. He's not going to get into it, but there's a lot of things they're doing with Tyree Wilson. So those are things that you can see about Tyree Wilson's game that can be kind of exploited in different areas of the field, not just on the edge, because ultimately, if he doesn't get any pass rushing moves, you really can't play him out there too often. Now, we're going to take a look at his presser, but before we do, I want to make sure everyone please like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's an excellent way to support the channel. It's absolutely free to do, and it's the bare minimum you can do support the channel besides doing absolutely nothing, just watching the video. Okay, let's get to his presser.
Tyree. So we're just talking to Adam Butler, and he said that, you've been trying some new things this offseason. What can you tell us about the new things you've been trying this offseason?
Man, first off, being consistent, running to the ball. I'm trying to get my cardio up, to be able to be on the field longer, to be around the ball, to make more plays. And then, just being versatile, last year you saw me outside, inside.
Versatile.
Just really try to make my game more efficient inside, working, more edge moves, counter moves, and not just be, a power guy, which I always have in my bag.
Your feet were visibly different in this mini camp, even from where you ended last year. Is that something you spent a lot of time working on in the offseason?
Yeah, feet work, and probably, just everything, core, feet work, and, just having a lower center of gravity. I missed a lot of plays, sacks, tackles, and, I'm always falling on the ground, so that was a big focus in the offseason.
Tyree, let's talk about the development relationship you have with Max in year 3. It just looks like after a lot of reps, he's talking to you a lot, depending on you to coming into these seasons.
Man, me and Max, I feel like the bond starts in practice. I always, if we doing a look, I always go with Max. I try to give him the best look. He try to give me the best look. And, what they say, iron sharpens iron. He always going to critique me. He been in the game long. He been successful. So I always, ask him, hey, he be like, oh, you can do this better. So, I'll go back and do the rep the better. He tell me good job. And it just, every day, trying to build and, try to idolize what he has established at the Raiders.
You guys had to see his interception today in the celebration you guys kind of had as a defense after.
Man, the crazy thing, if y'all was watching individual, we was working on that drill, and practice is reality. So when you practice something, he's always special. He always batting it down, and we worked it today, and he had the pick for a touchdown.
You have a guy like Devin come in, he's won a Super Bowl, very successful. Is it important to bring guys like that into this organization to kind of show the way of what the biggest success is?
Man, Devin, I knew Devin a little bit before he got here. But him as a teammate's way different. He always has the energy. He knows a lot of ball. He helps tell us what to expect at the front. So I feel like that's a great dude to bring in the organization.
There's a rookie that you were teammates with at Texas Tech, Caleb Rogers, is coming in. What has been your relationship like with him, and what are some things you're trying to tell him to try to help him become a pro as well?
Man, Caleb Rogers has always been a guy with great energy, a good guy, always down to work. He transitioned that over here to the Raiders. Me and him line up, a little bit across from each other, some reps, and I just tell him to keep your head down. Don't get too cocky. Just always work.
Do you feel this is a big year for you professionally?
Man, this the biggest year. Not just I feel like ain't no pressure. It's just I feel like I got my feet under me. My teammates are counting me, and the team's counting on me. So yeah, this is a big year.
How would you kind of assess how your first 2 years have been? Like, the development has been there for sure. It showed up on the field, but like, how do you feel about it?
Man, going back looking at my previous 2 years, first year, foot injury. I got in, really took a lot of time away from ball, and it just went fast. It was a blur. Last year, I starting to grow, starting to feel, the game started to slow down a little bit, but the twitch and the reaction, it wasn't there all the way. It started to develop, after the bye, and now I'm just coming in and starting it in OTAs and transitioning to camp and then into the season.
Tyree, at the end of last year, I talked about the fact that it looked like football was fun again.
Yeah.
And you agreed. Today, it looked like you're back, you're comfortable again in playing this game now. Healthy, comfortable. Am I reading you right?
Yeah, you reading me right. It starts from the top. Pete comes in here with a great mindset, great attitude, and, he pours it into the team. And all the coaches want to be here. All the coaches want to have fun, and it just makes it fun for all the players.
It looked like there was like a scuffle after one of the plays with the offensive. You and Max with one of the offensive linemen, just competitive out there. What was going on? Man,
it's football. It was no fight, no scuffle. It was just competing.
You talk about developing and figuring out, like, late last year, getting comfortable where you are right now. Do you feel it's almost unfair to not be able to develop in that way? Everybody expects you to be an all-pro right away when you're picked in the top 10, and it's like almost not fair to you at that point.
Man, I wouldn't say not fair. You draft somebody, how you expect them to come out and perform right away. But I feel like every player in the NFL is different. People go through different things. Some players are more polished in college than others, and some people have to come in and develop. So I feel like everybody has a different timeline, and my timeline is different. I feel like this year's the year that you got to go out there and show and shut everybody up. Not that matters. What matters is the teammates and whoever's around me.
How excited are you for the chance to do that?
Man, I'm not just looking at the season. You gotta take baby steps. First, I gotta finish off mini camp, and then go back in. The next 6 weeks are big. You can lose a lot or you can gain a lot. So go back, train, develop some more, and then come into camp and create that bond and be polished up going into the season. To just take it week by week.
Seems like you're really
another high draft pick like you, with all the pressure on him coming in.
You said what?
Connected with Ashton.
Man, you know, Ashton's special. You know, we all seen him in college playoffs. He come in, he ain't too arrogant. He's always working. You know, quiet guy, coming in to work. You know, I haven't really spoken with him a lot just for him being on the offensive ball. But, you know, I always mess with him each and every day. But I feel like it ain't no pressure. Just go out there and be you and then let people talk, and that really don't matter. It just matters what we think are, you know, in the building.
Your mindset seems like you've really kind of slowed down each step, each phase of what you're trying to accomplish. Like, how right now is your focus zeroed in as you head into this phase of the offseason and going into training camp?
I feel like to get in, you know, this OTAs, but it ain't real football. So to really get in football shape, train with pads and the helmet on, and, you know, to really focus on being low and being able to take on blocks and then be able to transition to the pass.
All good?
Thank you. Thank you, Tyree.
Okay, listening to him, it's a lot of good stuff, all right? Because he is acknowledging things that he needs to do better. His footwork needs to be better. He needs to be more explosive. He needs to stay on his feet. He needs to learn some complementary pass rush moves and not just be a bulldozer and try to like bowl over everybody. So he's saying all the right things. He's saying the things that he needs to work on. Now he got to go and do it. Is he ever going to live up to that number 7 overall pick? Probably not. But that doesn't mean he can't greatly improve and be a huge asset to this defense. Again, this defensive line is the engine that runs this entire defense. It's all about the defensive line. When you talk about Pete Carroll defenses, they always had defensive lines who weren't always the flashiest, who didn't have always the biggest names, but they were good, productive defensive lines that allowed everyone else to play the way they wanted to play. The issue that we're seeing with Tyree Wilson right now is his development is kind of a 1 year behind because of that injury in the first season. I'm not sure that he was fully healthy when he came back, and that may have kind of hindered him that first season from being the player that he can be. He said that things are kind of slowing down for him, which is a common thing with players coming into their second season. We've heard that a few times already. Things are slowing down for him and allowing him to play faster. So hopefully that really translates into him being a versatile piece of the defensive line. We heard it from Adam Butler. We've not heard it from Tyree Wilson, where the versatility of him is going to play a big thing, a big role in this defense. So I really see him playing more inside and even playing a little bit outside as almost like an outside linebacker type of role at times. So there's a lot of things this guy can do on the field. So hopefully this defensive coaching staff and Pete Carroll has unlocked what we can do and get out of Tyree Wilson for this defense in 2025. All right, guys, that's my time for today. Really appreciate you guys watching. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's an excellent way to support the channel. It's absolutely free to do, and it's the bare minimum you do support the channel besides doing nothing and just watching the video. Guys, keep doing what you're doing, man. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit the notifications button. You guys know what to do. Every time you guys do that, every time you guys like, comment, subscribe, and share, you guys are helping this channel. You guys are helping me, helping you guys bring more content. Everything that I'm making from this channel, I put it back into the channel for you guys. I really want you guys to understand that you guys are really the engine that drives this podcast. You guys give me what I need to be able to get this stuff going, and hopefully you guys are appreciating it. All right, guys, everyone, please make sure to tell your friends, tell your haters, tell your mamas, tell everybody. Raiders versus the world's greatest and going Raiders today. All right, guys, my time. Till next time, everybody. Peace. Hey, Raider Nation. Thanks for watching. There's plenty more where that came from. Go ahead and smash that like button. Drop a comment. Make sure to subscribe and share to all your socials. It's the bare minimum you can do without doing absolutely nothing.